All right, live on YouTube, starting us up on Rumble. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show's about what happened today throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with, what do we have here on November 20th? We have quite a show here. Let's see here. 284, Roman general Diocletian was proclaimed emperor by armies of the east and west after the death of Carneades at the Battle of Margus. And if anyone wants to speak, because I'm going to try to start a new thing instead of having people like expected to speak, like on whatever. If anybody wants to speak, they can just start speaking. So, moving on up to 762, Bogu Khan of the Uyghurs, conquered Luoyang, capital of the Chinese Empire. Well, I mean that's a very familiar word, the Uyghurs. So, yeah, I wonder if this event and the stuff around this is why China is doing what they're doing to the Uyghurs today. A little bit of revenge. Who knows? 1194 in Palermo, Sicily was conquered by the Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI. This event was mentioned in the Patton movie starring George C. Scott. Yes, when he was sitting there waiting for Monty, the Loon and I actually had a whole conversation about that earlier today during coffee time. 1272, Edward I was proclaimed King of England after the death of his father, Henry III, but it took 2 years to return to England from the Ninth Crusade. I believe we covered this a few days ago, right, King?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 1407, a truce between John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, and Louis of Valois, Duke of Orleans, was agreed under the auspices of John, Duke of Berry. Orleans would later be assassinated, 3 days later, by Burgundy. So that didn't work out that well. Whoopsie doodles. Off of main source here, 1431, the first meeting of the Order of the Golden Fleece. What is the Order of the Golden Fleece, you may ask? Well, let's look this up here really quick. Let's see. Order of the Golden Fleece. The Distinguished Order of the Golden Fleece, is a Catholic order of chivalry founded in 1430 in Bruges by Philip the Good, Duke of Burgundy, to celebrate his marriage to Isabella of Portugal. Today, 2 branches of the order exist, namely the Spanish Fleece and the Austrian Fleece. The current Grand Masters are King Philippe VI of Spain and Karl von Habsburg, head of the House of Habsburg-Lorraine. The Habsburgs are still around? Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you. Golden Moon here.
Yeah. Respectively, the Grand Chaplain of the Austrian branch is Cardinal Christoph Schönborn, Archbishop of Vienna. So this Order of the Golden Fleece is still around, having been founded in 1430, but this is the first meeting in 1431.
Okay.
All right. Moving on up to 1441, actually not going to read that one, that's not marked. 1521, sorry. Arabs attributed shortage of water in Jerusalem to Jews making wine. Well, I mean, if enough of them are, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
well, they may have blocked the flow of water.
Yeah. I mean, as Bill Burr has said, not every ass kicking just falls out of the sky,
True.
But, a certain Israelite people seem, they claim it does somehow, magically. 1637, Peter Minuit and the first Swedish immigrants to Delaware sailed from Sweden. So,
Sweden, huh?
Yeah, so they're the first immigrants to Delaware from Sweden. This is when they departed.
Yeah.
Cool. 1695, Zumbi, the last king of the Quilombo dos Palmares in early Brazil and ex-slave, was executed by the forces of Portuguese Bandeira Domingos Jorge Velo and decapitated, his head displayed on a pike to dispel any legends of his immortality. That is one quite of a life right there. But he was a slave, then he became a king, and unfortunately the last king, because then he got decapitated. 1759, the Battle of Quiberon Bay saw British win crucial naval victory over the French, thwarting a planned French invasion of Britain. Wow. So they were planning to put some boots on the ground over there. 1776, during the American Revolutionary War, British forces landed at the Palisades and then attacked Fort Lee. The Continental Army started to retreat across New Jersey. And it's a very, amazing way that they invaded. I'm not sure if you can see that well, but it's this top right one. They're doing a sea, but, or I guess they're crossing a river or something.
Yeah.
But there's a one-man wide path leading up the cliffs, and that's how they invaded. Like, they essentially, like, without actually, like, climbing the cliffs, this is equivalent to the Point de Hoc with the big red one.
Yeah.
When they climbed up the cliffs on Normandy and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You know, they're just going up a really narrow mountain pass to invade. That is incredible, and like it caught them so off guard, because I remember this battle. It was it really caught them off guard. So, moving on up to 1789, New Jersey became the first state to ratify the Bill of Rights, which was created back on September 25th that same year, 1789.
Who would have thought New Jersey? Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, the Garden State. And hey, you know, that's a situation over here. 1795, Curaçao government forbade slave work on Sunday. Well, look at that. A day off as a slave. Isn't that swanky?
How about that?
You know?
Yeah.
That's actually, like, legitimately actually pretty nice. So,
boy, they had to like it, yes.
Yeah. 1805, Ludwig von Beethoven's Fidelio, his only opera, premiered at Vienna Theater and Der Wind. Okay. 1815, Russia, Prussia, Austria, and England signed an alliance, quote, for the maintenance of peace in Europe, end quote, on the same day as the Treaty of Paris. And speaking of Treaty of Paris, we have the Second Treaty of Paris was signed the same year, so this is that Treaty of Paris we were just speaking of. France and her allies agreed to returning the French frontiers to their 1790 extent, imposing large indemnities or payments, and prolonging the occupation by troops of Great Britain, Austria, Russia, and Russia for several more years after the Battle of Waterloo, ending the Napoleonic Wars. So, you know, this is after, you know, Waterloo and Napoleon lost the Napoleonic Wars, and, you know, everything just, you know, almost overnight just turned to crap. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, France just had to pay through the year through that. 1820, Nantucket, Massachusetts whaling ship Essex was attacked and sunk by an 80-ton sperm whale in the southern Pacific.
Whoa, what?
3,200 kilometers or 2,000 miles from the western coast of South America. Only 8 of the 20 crewmen eventually survived through cannibalism. This event became part of the inspiration for Herman Melville's 1851 novel Moby Dick.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that actually happened.
That really happened.
Wow.
Yeah, a whale attacked a boat, and, you know, it caused a whole bunch of mayhem, and only 8 of the 20 people survived, and, you know, they had to eat each other to, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Never heard of a whale attacking a boat.
Oh, they do all the time. Well, especially these days, there's been a lot more reportings of
really?
Sperm whales, not sperm whales, orcas, you know, killer whales.
Uh-huh.
Well, sperm whales too, but like, you know, especially killer whales. No, like there's even videos they group up and they all simultaneously start butting their head against the hull of the boat as a unit.
Really?
Yeah, they're attacking it like it would, and it's not like they're mistaking it for a seal or whatever.
Right.
Like they're trying to, you know, there's been several cases where they've sunk, and then they leave. It's not like they're trying to sink it and eat the people.
So they're
just
actually
trying
identifying
they're identifying it
as an enemy.
Yes.
As a threat.
Yeah. Well, not really a threat. Just, you know, these are our waters. You know, boom.
Yeah.
You know, get out of here. They're, you know.
I've never heard of any of that.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a thing for the past couple of years. Moving on up, 1829, Jews were expelled from Nikolaev and Sevastopol in Russia. Why?
Yeah.
You know, why? What happened? What did they do?
You have to read further. You have to look it up.
Yeah, well, I'm asking the question, so you know, a viewer. Because that is a good question. Like, you know, why does this keep happening to the Jews? I really doubt that every single time people just woke up one day and just, let's hate the Jews for no reason. You know, no, something happens. And something keeps happening that we're not allowed to talk about, otherwise we're anti-Semitic. Ooh, you know, a great old conversation shut-upper. Anyway, 1861, during the American Civil War, a secession ordinance was filed by Kentucky's Confederate government. Yep. 1862, Confederate armies of Mississippi and Kentucky merged as the Army of Tennessee under General Braxton Bragg. You know, well, that does not make me happy to have been born in Tennessee. They were part of the South.
Yeah.
I wonder if he bragged about that. The 1866 First National Convention of Veterans Organization Grand Army of Republic. So that was the veterans of the just past Civil War.
Yeah.
1866 is about. By this time, it had finished, I believe. 1866 as well, French inventor Pierre Lallemant patented rotary crank bicycle. And it's not on here, but it's like, the big wheel bicycle from the old... Yeah, that's the one. I mean, this is 1866.
So rotary cranked. I don't know what that means exactly.
It's crank... Well, here, let's see here. 1866 rotary crank bicycle. Because this is before the invention of a chain and pulley system.
Oh, there you go.
So, right here. Like, this is a rotary crank.
Yeah.
So, like, it's directly adhered on the front wheel.
Right. That's why the wheel had to be so big.
Yeah.
So your small amount would turn it a great deal.
Now, here's something interesting. A side-by-side one. Like, this is a four-wheel. They have the big wheels.
Yeah. Two bigs and two smalls.
Yeah. But the famous one is like trying to find. Oh, here's one with just one on the side. That's one when they had like a chain system before they started hooking it to the back wheel. So, and it's interesting looking at the evolution of a bicycle. But I'm trying to find the specific one. Here we go. Remember these ones? Yeah, because it's directly adhered onto the wheel. So that's the rotary crank. Whatever. 1873, during the Garnier expedition, French forces under Lieutenant Francis Garnier captured Hanoi from the Vietnamese. So I guess this is when they created a colony on Vietnam. We were talking about this earlier today.
Yeah.
So let me move this here over to you. I keep forgetting about this here.
That's fine.
Well, I just want to make sure that you get picked up so they can hear you. I can hear you just fine, but they might not be able to. 1886, Sherlock Holmes' first story, A Study in Scarlet, was accepted by publisher Woden with a payment of £25.
25 pounds.
Yeah. That's heavy, Doc. 2 years later, 1888, Willard Bundy patented the time card clock. So punch cards. Time card.
Time cards,
Yeah. Gee, thank you. So, 1889, Gustav Mahler premiered his first symphony at the Vigano Concert Hall in Budapest, Hungary. It was not well received, and he revised it several times before publishing 9 years later. All right. So he tried it. 1890, Pope Leo the 12th encyclical on slavery in the missions. We had looked this up last year. I remember that, and or the year prior. Yeah, apparently the missions, along California and in Mexico and stuff, a lot of them had slaves. And California was part of the South.
What?
Yeah, they were at least allied. And I think they had a couple military units they sent.
Well, they couldn't have been part of it because they weren't a state.
I think California wasn't. Hold on a second. Let's look this up here really quick. Kosia, when was California a state? Interim governments, 1846 to 1850. Okay, but that's interim California. Admission day, September 9th, 1850. That's 10 years before the outbreak. Okay. So they were a state.
Okay, yeah.
So,
not bad.
Yeah. 1900, the French actress Sarah Bernhardt received the press at the Savoy Hotel in New York at the outset of her first visit since 1896. She talked about her impending tour with a troupe of more than 50 performers and her plans to play the title role in Hamlet. All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
1902, Gio Lufrey and Henry Desgrange created the Tour de France bicycle race. All right.
Tour de France. Okay.
Happy birthday, Tour de France. Yeah. 1909, Jack Williams of Canadian football team Ottawa Rough Riders kicked 9 singles in a game. That sounds impressive.
Yeah, I think they have something where you can punt it over or something and you get a point. I forget. I don't know their football.
I have no idea. 1910, Francisco I. Madero issued the Plan de San Luis Potosi, denouncing the Mexican president Porfirio Diaz, calling for a revolution to overthrow the government of Mexico, effectively starting the Mexican Revolution.
Oh, okay.
Yep. 1911, the funeral of Paul and Laura Lafroge, daughter of Karl Marx, in Paris was attended by Lenin. The two socialists died in a suicide pact in the belief that their political usefulness was at an end. Thank God they did not. They spread that gene, yes, it was at an end, and that bloodline is over, and we can all praise whatever God you pray to, if you do.
But the movement was far from over.
Well, their usefulness never existed. But at least that bloodline is over. Thank God. I hope. 1914, the U.S. State Department started requiring photographs for passports. All right. You know, and I'm pretty sure back then there were conspiracy theorists. Oh, look, they're categorizing what you look like, and blah blah blah. I mean, like, you know, all these people are going around and freaking out about, like, you know, the phone taking pictures of you. It's like, oh, what do you think a driver's license is?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think a passport is? You know, if you operate in society, they already know you. Are you stupid? You know? 1917, the first successful tank use in battle occurred at the Battle of Cambrai in World War I as Britain used the new technology to break through German lines. Tanks.
Tanks?
Oh. Yep, and, I did not have the picture here. Like, I gathered a lot of pictures, but I don't want the pictures to get too small, so...
Yeah,
I had to,
you're limited.
Yeah, so I gotta be a lot more,
selective?
But, yeah, selective. But it was really interesting. There was a picture, they had, like, you know, 4 or 5 tanks lined up in a row. It was like, you know, getting ready for battle. It looked really sick. So, actually, you know what? Let me just look this up here really quick, just to see if I can find that picture again, because it looked really cool. You know, I just have to. Here it is. There it is. Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Oh geez.
That looks so, like right out of Warhammer 40K. You know.
Yeah.
Forcadia. Anyway, moving on up to 1917. During World War II, the Battle of Cambrai began, in which British forces made early progress in an attack on German positions, but were later pushed back. So this does coincide with this. So you know they did use the tanks to push, but then they were later pushed back. You know, so that's 1917. The Ukrainian Republic was declared.
Oh.
All right. 1919. The first municipally owned airport in the USA opened in Tucson, Arizona.
In Tucson.
Very fitting, because now the Boneyard's over there and everything, and the Pimo Air and Space Museum.
Huge boneyard.
Yeah, it's a great museum too. Over there.
Yeah, that's a must see if you're into any of that stuff at all.
Which, by the way, I was looking into it. That that tank museum is not there yet.
No.
But they're talking about 2025, 2026. They're accepting donations. You know, so but it is in the plans, and they already have like you know where they're gonna build it. It's gonna be a lot smaller of a thing, but like hold on a second. Let me Pimo. Well,
it's going to be right in that area, right?
Yeah.
It's going to tie in with.
Well, no, like because remember, like the road in, like it has like that little loop around.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like big area loop around. They're going to build the tank museum in that loop around, so it's going to be a smaller facility.
Okay. Yeah.
But you know, yeah. Anyway, 1923, the U.S. inventor Garrett Morgan patented his traffic signal design, adding a caution between stop and go, an important development in automobile safety. All right. And did you know that the original traffic signals were designed after railroad signals?
Yeah, where they come up and down and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1923, Rentenmark replaced the paper mark as the official currency of Germany at the exchange rate of 1 Rentenmark to 1 trillion, or 1 billion on the long scale, paper mark.
Wow.
Okay, well, I mean, like, you know, after World War I, they got screwed over financially so bad that they had to completely change their entire economy.
Yeah, pretty well. It was worthless.
And people wonder how Hitler rose to power. You know, maybe if we didn't screw over that country so bad and give them no other choice. 1928 as well, Boston Gardens opened with the Montreal Canadiens beating Boston Bruins 1-0.
Wow, what year is that again?
28.
Wow, Boston Gardens been around since 28.
Yep. Very old.
They're pushing 100 years pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're already at 95?
Yeah.
Roughly. Maybe. 1929, first broadcast of Goldberg's on U.S. radio. Whatever that is, some show. And 1929, we have Salvador Dali's first one-man show.
Ah, Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
The mustache.
31, commercial teletype service began, AT&T. Not sure exactly what that technology is. Like, I looked that up and everything. It was some machine with a keyboard or whatever, so I don't know. 31, Rolls-Royce acquisition of Bentley Motors was announced. Yeah. 1934, 17-year-old pitcher Eiji Sawamura gave up just 1 hit, a Lou Gehrig home run, as U.S. All-Stars beat Japan 1-0. Oh, well, that was a major fumble right there. He gave up that 1 hit, and that cost the game.
Yeah, that was it.
Whoops. 1934, new Belgian government of 3 bankers, Thiernes, Franqui, and Goot. That's never good. 3 bankers being a government. That is scary. 34, Toronto Maple Leafs left wing Busher Jackson became the first NHL player to score 4 goals in a period in a 5-2 win over St. Louis Eagles at the St. Louis Arena. Talk about caring. And there's only one person else who scored a goal, 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
So, 2 years later, 1936, Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera, founder of the Falange, was killed by a Republican execution squad. Yikes, I have no idea who he was, but yeah. 1938, the first documented anti-Jewish remarks over U.S. radio were spoken by Father Coughlin. Well, of course, a Christian. So, 1940, during World War II, Hungary became a signatory of the Tripartite Pact, joining the Axis powers. Romania and Slovakia joined as well. Oh, yep, joining the Axis. Not good.
Joined the wrong side.
Yep. Well, Hungary had no choice.
Yeah.
You know, they got taken over, so
Yeah.
I don't think they did it willingly. 1941, same with Romania and Slovakia. Everybody else.
That whole area, yeah.
Yeah. The only willing people were Germany, of course, Italy, and Japan. Everybody
Japan,
else,
yeah.
I think, just kind of got forced into it. 1941, Adam Nomura and Kurusho handed over Japanese last diplomatic note. I'm not sure what that is, but maybe like political stuff, like the in Washington, the ambassadors and all
Yeah.
that stuff, embassies, envoys, whatnot. Because December 7th is coming up here pretty soon. 1942, the National Hockey League abolished regular season overtime until World War II was over. That would make sense. You don't want to spend too much time, like being entertained while the people are overseas dying for you to be entertained. Just out of respect,
Yeah.
don't have overtime. Something kind of like that. I don't know. 1942, the 2,451 kilometer long Alaska Highway from Dawson Creek, British Columbia to Fairbanks, Alaska,
Whoa.
first opened to military traffic. Yeah, well, we needed to get troops and supplies up
Well.
over there and everything because the Japanese were invading the Aleutian Islands. They had up in there were Japanese invasionary boots on U.S. sovereign soil. So we were actually technically invaded sovereignly, because the Aleutians. So, yeah. And we needed to get stuff up there, to defend against all that stuff and build up an infrastructure. So they had to build that whole highway. And,
Quite an undertaking.
Oh, yeah. 1944, the first Japanese suicide submarine attack occurred at Luithi Atoll in Carolines.
I've never heard of a suicide submarine attack.
Oh, yeah, it's basically just a torpedo with, a person on it to steer it.
Oh, okay.
So, but more than a torpedo, it's like a mini sub.
Yeah.
But just fully packed with explosives, kind of like what they did with the kamikazes. It's the same thing, just
Yeah.
with a submarine.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the kamikazes we've all heard of. But
Yeah.
I never heard of the submarine.
but I mean, they did that throughout all the fields of war on land. They did the bonsai charges.
True.
Like
Yeah.
they're just throwing themselves in the meat grinder. 1944 in Amsterdam, Vondel Park was closed because of capping of trees. What?
Yeah.
Capping of trees. Let me look this up here really
No
quick.
idea what that means.
Let's see here.
It sounds weird.
It does. Because of capping of trees. Well, that's just from another history source there. That's from another history source. All right, well, I remember talking about this before, and I don't think that we've ever been told anything about it. So if anybody out there knows what the heck that means, please let us know in the comment section. Moving on up, what else do we got here? 1945, the Nuremberg war trials began at the Palace of Justice in Nuremberg, seeing 24 Nazi leaders put on trial before judges representing the victorious Allied powers. Yeah, big trials there. 47, the first permanent TV was installed on a seagoing vessel in New Jersey. So, just like a TV in the thing. Like, you know how fishing boats, they have the TV built into the vessel nowadays?
Yeah.
So, yeah. 1947 as well, Pope Pius the 12th published encyclical Mediator Dei. Let's look this up here really quick. Encyclical Mediator Dei. Alright. This suggested new directions and active participation instead of a merely passive role for the faithful in the liturgy, in liturgical ceremonies, and in the life of their parish. The encyclical also emphasized the importance of the Eucharist, Beatitude Dei is one of the more important encyclicals of Pope Pius XII. The encyclical condemned certain excesses of liturgical reform and stressed the importance of the union of sacrifice and altar with communion, which would also be seen in the reforms undertaken during and after Vatican II. What is liturgy? The Mass is the central liturgical service of the Eucharist, and this is all Catholic stuff. I have no idea. So,
Well, I'm glad I'm not alone in it going over my head here.
yeah, I mean, like, I only read it just to see if
Yeah.
I could understand
Yeah.
it, which I didn't. But, it's, holy memos. They're interesting to look at. See what the Vatican's up to. What are they doing? What are they talking
Yeah.
about? What's
all-
their primary
yeah.
focus of this quarter?
Kind of
like
shows where they're at through history.
yeah. 47, the UN General Assembly began a debate on printing their own stamps. Well, we spoke about that not too long ago, about them getting authorized their stamps, and before that is when they printed. So, obviously different moments in history, but the dates were different. 49, the Jewish population of Israel reached 1 million. That sounds like a complete invasion right there. They were created in 48, and by 49, within a year, they already had 1 million people. That sounds like a colonization invasion. I'm sorry. 52, the Slansky trials began, which were a series of Stalinist and anti-Jewish trials in Czechoslovakia. So this is a lot of things.
Yeah.
People don't realize that the Soviets were doing their own participation of the Holocaust. It wasn't just Germany and what Germany controlled, But everybody, wants to attack only one guy for whatever reason. 53, Scott Crossfield in the Douglas Skyrocket became the first to break Mach 2, which is 1,300 miles per hour. All right, so broke Mach 2.
Yeah.
55, Poli Umrigar scored India's first Test cricket double century, 223 versus New England. All right.
Cricket.
1958, U.S. puppeteers Jim and Jane Henson established Muppets, Inc., known today as the Jim Henson Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace,
He died
Jim.
fairly young.
Yes, he did. Not too long ago, or when did he die?
Probably
90,
15, 20
wow.
years ago. Yeah.
Wow, 30 years ago. He died at 90?
90? Okay.
Wow, at the age of 53.
Yeah.
I thought he died in like 2010 or something. I was way
no,
off.
no.
Oh. Man, he died before I could even understand who he was. That's sad.
But you knew his work.
By 3?
Well, not by 3, but
Yeah.
you know it now.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, one of the greatest movies of all time, The Dark Crystal. I love that movie. I have it on VHS. 1959, UN adopted Universal Declaration of Children's Rights, the rights of a child. All right. Yeah, children do have rights, as do bigger humans. So, 1959, WABC fired Alan Freed over his refusal to swear innocence in the payola scandal, allegedly accepting bribes from record companies. So that's a thing there.
That was big. Payola through the records, and radio.
Do you want to give us a little synopsis?
Well,
They were paying people to play their records on the radio.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so they get exposure and everything else.
Ah.
That's just part of it. That's the part I know, and there's probably way more than that. But it sounds like that's what they're referring to ABC.
Maybe I'm corrupted, but I don't find a problem in that.
I come and say, here's $1,000, play me, every other hour, once an hour, play, so I can sell a million albums.
I don't see a problem with
Records?
that.
No.
But then again, maybe
what about the guy that can't afford to pay him, so now he doesn't get exposure? No, you can't.
Well, true.
That's payola. Payola's bad.
See, exactly. That's why I said, I've been corrupted by capitalism. So, 1962, Mickey Mantle won American League Most Valuable Player for the third time. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
62 as well, the Cuban Missile Crisis ended when the Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, agreed to remove remaining Elysium IL-28 bomber jets from Cuba. As a result, President of the United States of America, John F. Kennedy, ended the quarantine of the Caribbean nation, lifting the blockade.
Yeah.
All right.
That was huge.
And we became so close, and it was so stupid. The whole thing was in response to us putting missiles on their doorstep in Turkey.
Yeah.
And we got them to do what we wanted, but then we didn't do what they wanted. So how is that mutual?
I said it was mutual. They had to go from here. That was all there was to it. Yeah, the Monroe Doctrine and everything else.
Well, that's
to
just,
back it up.
I'm just mad. 1965, the UN Security Council called for a boycott of Rhodesia. I wonder why. 1966, Dallas sacked Pittsburgh quarterbacks an NFL record 12 times.
Oh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was sore the next day.
Yeah. 1966, men in Zurich voted against female suffrage. That's not cool. 66 as well, John Kander and Fred Ebb's Cabaret opened at Broadhurst Theater in New York City, running for 1,166 performances and winning 8 Tony Awards.
Ooh.
Impressive.
Long run.
Yeah. 1967, at 11 in the morning, the census clock at the Department of Commerce ticked past 200 million. So I guess, 200 million people census. I guess that's the population of the United States.
200 million? Nah.
Well,
It had to be more than that.
It's only 360 some odd million right now.
Okay.
So between 67 to now, that's an adequate number to build up.
I thought we
so-
had more than that now.
Well, categorized.
What does that mean?
As in known, like not everybody takes a census, not everybody gets categorized. So, we can have 8 people in the house, we mark 7, now we have a ghost. The government only knows what is being told or what they spy on. So, 1969, Alcatraz Island off San Francisco was seized by militant Native American activists, inspiring Wilma Mankiller to become involved. They were eventually ousted by the U.S. government on June 11th, 1971. So, over 2 years. Or just under 2 years, actually.
Yeah.
But, man, what a name, Mankiller. And, oh, wow, look at her. She looks like a freaking, like, a beast.
I don't know about that.
I wouldn't want to run into that in a dark alley. I mean, look at those forearms. She can probably pretzel me, dude. It's terrifying. 1969, Brazilian soccer icon Pelé scored his 1,000th goal. Didn't we cover that not too long ago, like yesterday?
For something for him. I can't remember exactly what it was. But
Maybe he was in a different time zone or something. I don't know. 1969 as well, during the Vietnam War, the Plain Dealer, Cleveland, Ohio, published explicit photographs of dead villagers from the My Lai massacre in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Yeah, more anti-war stuff, very valid, awful stuff happening, people justifying, going in and murdering entire swaths of people just because there's one or two, combatant and stuff in there happening in today over in the Middle East. 1970, the United Nations General Assembly accepted membership of the People's Republic of China. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea. And hindsight is 2020. So, 1970, the first black woman to be crowned Miss World was Jennifer Hostin from Grenada at the Royal Albert Hall, London. The event was interrupted by women's liberation activists. Now, I would have not covered this normally because, I don't really care who's the first black, white, whatever, this, If you're the first person, you're the first person, period.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to partition off because you want to feel special because of the color of your skin. No, you're a human, and I'm going to treat you as such. But I put this in here because the event was interrupted by women's liberation activists. Why would a women's liberation activist go and interrupt a woman's thing? Isn't that a bit self-defeating? That's a shot in the foot. So that's why I'm covering it. So, stupid. 1974, the United States Department of Justice filed its final antitrust suit against AT&T Corporation. Mm. The suit later led to the breakup of AT&T and its Bell system. Good.
Yeah.
Where did that go? Where did that energy go? We need it back. Break up Amazon, break up Apple, break up Microsoft, break up Amazon, break up all these people. Disney has like 3 streaming services that are in competition with each other. What the hell? 1974, the first fatal crash of a Boeing 747 occurred with a Lufthansa Flight 530 crashed while attempting to take off from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, Kenya, killing 59 out of the 157 people on board. Yikes. That's not good.
Yeah.
So, 75 as well, Ronald Reagan announced his candidacy for Republican nomination for U.S. President.
Yeah.
All right. 76, George Harrison appeared on Saturday Night Live, haggled with Lorraine Michaels, then performed Here Comes the Sun. and Homeward Bound with Paul Simon. Then went on to air 2 music videos. That was a busy show.
Yeah.
So now, what does it mean, haggled with Lorraine Michaels? What?
I don't know what they haggled about. Who knows?
Huh. I don't know.
Could have been a skit,
Maybe.
Most likely.
1977, Egyptian President Anwar Sadat became the first Arab leader to officially visit Israel, where he met Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and spoke before the Knesset in Jerusalem, seeking a permanent peace settlement.
Menachem Begin. Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge breakthrough.
Yeah.
He ended up Anwar Sadat ended up getting assassinated though.
Yeah, I seem to remember that. Yep, by fundamentalist army officers. Jeez. Moving on up to 1977 as well, Steve Largent began an NFL streak of 177 consecutive game receptions. That's impressive. Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears, the Bears, rushed for National Football League record 275 yards.
Yeah, he was a great one.
I wonder if that record still stands.
That's a good question. That's a lot of yards.
Yeah.
It may. It just might.
Yep. In 1979, we have a double hitter here. The Grand Mosque seizure saw about 200 Sunni Muslims revolt in Saudi Arabia at the site of the Kaaba in Mecca during the pilgrimage and took about 6,000 hostages. The Saudi government received help from Pakistani special forces to put down the uprising. And from the other source, Islamic extremists led by Juhayman al-Otaibi occupy the Grand Mosque of Mecca, declaring the arrival of the Mahdi, the Redeemer of Islam, in the form of Muhammad Abdullah al-Qantali, and called for the overthrow of the House of Saud. This siege lasted 2 weeks with hundreds killed and set Saudi Arabia on an ultra-conservative path. Now, the reason why, I had those two separate was because so much information between the two, I just couldn't figure out how to combine them. So I'm just going to cover them both. So, that's incredible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. 1979, the USA's first artificial blood transfusion occurred at the University of Minnesota Hospital. All right.
Artificial blood transfusion.
Yeah. So
artificial blood. You mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So fake blood.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that is it fully artificial? Like, how does it work with platelets? How does it work with red blood cells? Or with white? How does it work with
Well, I think it's a plasma, isn't it?
Well, yeah, plasma. Well, maybe it's a plasma. So like a stem cell of blood, or something. That's what plasma is, or something. I think.
Any of those.
So. How does it work with the different blood types? A, B, C, positive, negative,
Well,
all
that's
that
why
stuff.
it's a plasma. It's not to. It's
like mom's weird ass blood.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's just a supplement where your body makes more blood.
Huh. Okay. 1980, Steve Pataka and Solar Challenger made the first solar-powered flights. Okay. Yeah, we looked this up here. Solar Challenger. That huge ass. I just want to look it up again here. Because
I'm trying to remember the image of it. Yeah,
there
it
is.
is.
Okay. Yeah. You're basically... He's he's in a cage right here. It's really narrow for aerodynamics and all that stuff.
Yeah, and lightweight.
Solar
power. Fiber compound of some composite of some sort.
Yeah. 1980, United Artists withdrew $44 million movie Heaven's Gate for re-editing. Whoops. That's you already dunked $44 million into that thing. That's not good. 1980, Lake Pioneer of Louisiana drained into an underlying salt deposit. A misplaced Texaco oil probe had been drilled into the Diamond Crystal Salt mine, causing water to flow down into the mine, eroding the edges of the hole. So basically, they were drilling for oil, and they drilled into the salt mine, and because it's salt and everything, and they drilled in the lake in there, everything just went into the salt mine, and it just melted, and it just disaster. Like...
Sounds like it the way you put it.
Yeah, it is. Well, like there's other videos let's see here, tree sinking into lake, like it essentially did stuff like this here.
Hey, move it, John.
Yep, I got him.
See, because salt, it dissolves in water.
Yeah.
Well, what do you get when you have an entire lake flows through a hole into a salt mine? It heats.
drinks in a similar situation. This is a sinkhole in Louisiana. I think this runs into a salt deposit as well. But it just sucks it right in. Bye bye. Anyway, 1981, Burundi adopted its constitution. All right. 1982, 7-year-old Drew Barrymore hosted Saturday Night Live. At 7 years old, Drew Barrymore. She became a Hollywood name there.
Yeah.
1983, Cleveland Browns shut out Patriots 30-0.
Oh.
All right. Well, we know who was better there. 1983 as well, New York Giants Butch Wolfolk tied NFL record of 43 attempts rushing. Wow. 84, McDonald's made its 5 billionth hamburger. 1,000 million billion. Yep, 50th, not 5, 50th.
50 billion.
I skipped a zero.
God,
Whoops,
I remember
my bad.
back in the day when they put up
50 billionth burger.
We have
Jesus.
sold over 1 million burgers.
Yeah.
This was when I was a kid. This was like the second or third McDonald's just happened to be by us.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember in my childhood, or maybe in my late teens, early 20s, I remember some signs saying 1 trillion served. I think when you get to a certain number, you just give up showing it off.
And his thing was, he wanted McDonald's by big schools or
and you're talking
churches.
about Kroc, right?
Yeah.
Ray Kroc?
Yeah.
That guy was a piece
sure
of
enough,
shit.
just down the street from where literally our McDonald's like the second, third, fourth, or fifth, whatever. And sure enough, down the street was a big Catholic school and church. So yeah, that played out that way.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen the movie The Founder yet?
Is that about McDonald's?
Yeah, it's about Roy Kroc or whatever his name was.
I think I have seen it.
And he basically took the McDonald's, because he didn't invent it.
No.
He took it out from under two brothers.
Yeah.
Like, took it right out from under them. Like.
No, he bought into it and then he bought them out.
Yeah, well. Whatever.
They didn't make a lot of money. They got screwed.
Yeah, they got really screwed.
What they did do is
took their name,
Well, no, he didn't take the name.
He took the name. Like, their name they were the McDonald's brothers, but he took the name. He freaking stole
bought into
it.
And they were co-owners in the thing. He bought into it. They sold to him. So nothing, but they grew, and he was kind of dragging them down. So they agreed to be bought out by him. And they were allowed to keep their original McDonald's for themselves.
No, they weren't.
I believe so.
No, they weren't.
Then he, in vengeance, this is where it gets nasty. He built a franchise McDonald's right next to him.
Oh wait, you're right.
And broke him.
But he also took the legal right to the name McDonald's. So they did. I know that for a fact.
Yes, it came.
Because they had to change the name of their restaurant to the Big M or something like that.
Okay, maybe.
So, that's what it shows in the movie. Maybe that's wrong, but the guy was a sleazeball, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, he bought the rights to. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back on track here. 1984, SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute, was founded. All right, looking out there for, but see, as the saying goes, I stared into the abyss.
Yeah.
And the abyss stared back. That's when it gets real.
Yeah.
1985, Microsoft Windows 1.0, the first graphical personal computer operating environment developed by Microsoft, was released. 1986, World Health Organization announced the first global effort to combat AIDS, HIV. All right. 1988, Boston College beat Army 38-24 in the, quote, Emerald Isle Classic, end quote, at Dublin's Lansdowne Road Stadium, the first NCAA American football game to be played in Europe. All right. 1989, during the Velvet Revolution, the number of protesters assembled in Prague, Czechoslovakia, swelled from 200,000 the day prior to an estimated 500,000. So 150% increase right there. 1990, Sacramento Kings last NBA win on the road for over a year. Ouch. 1990, Saddam Hussein announced plans to release German hostages. I wonder if he did.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, once or twice. It's something involving him having German hostages. So, yeah. 1990, the Soviet Union showed reluctance to endorse the use of force in Iraq. against Iraq. So, yeah, well, that's their friend. 1990, Andrei Chikatilo, one of the Soviet Union's most prolific serial killers, was arrested. He later eventually confessed to 56 killings. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, 91 as well, the Azerbaijani Mi-8 helicopter carrying 19 peacekeeping mission teams with officials and journalists from Russia, Kazakhstan, and Azerbaijan was shot down by Armenian military forces in Konya district, Azerbaijan. So that's a huge hit right there. So a 19-man strong peacekeeping mission team and officials and journalists from Russia, Kazakhstan, and Azerbaijan. That's, geez, man. In 1992, in England, a fire broke out in Windsor Castle, causing over £50 million worth of damage.
Ooh.
That's heavy right there.
Yeah.
93, Jakovilov 22 crashed into a mountain at Orchard, Macedonia. 116 people perished. 93, the savings and loan scandal/crisis occurred in which the United States Senate Ethics Committee issued a stern censure of and a warning to California Senator Alan Cranston for his dealings with savings and loan executive Charles Keating. Of course, a Californian.
I remember that.
Yeah. Do you want to give us a little bit of information if there is?
No, it was just, like it says, a big scandal for the savings and loan. And, yeah, I don't really have anything.
But why was it a scandal? What was,
Well,
what was the problem?
I can't quite remember the whole thing. Like I say, I don't have a lot to add to it, but I just remember the incident, and I can't remember exactly what they were doing, but it was not helping the customers.
And of course, the Californians
And enriching
involved,
some people. Yeah.
Yeah. 1993, Winnie Mandela's driver and bodyguard was murdered in Johannesburg, and I think, wasn't she assassinated, or did we? Or no, that's somebody else. Not Mandela. I was thinking about Gandhi. Sorry, somebody completely different. 93, North Macedonia's deadliest aviation disaster occurred when Aviomyopix Flight 110, a Yakovlev Yak-42, crashed near Ohrid, killing all 116 people on board. Did we just talk about that? No.
I don't recall.
We just talked about 116 people dying. Oh well, somewhere.
A partial one.
60-some people out of 100 and something.
Oh, okay. Anyway, 1993, the savings... okay, we got... no, here it is, right here. Yeah, no, we did cover this.
Okay.
Jackalef, so hold on a second. That belongs up here. So let me just copy and paste that. Copy, delete that, move that up here, and I will... oh god, where did it go? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so I'll just add that here, and I'll get back to that next year. 1994, the Angolan government and UNITA rebels signed the Lusaka Protocol in Zambia, ending 19 years of civil war. However, localized fighting did resume the next year.
Oh, God.
Yep. Let's see here. We got another 94. Russian Cosmos satellites 2294, 2295, and 2296 were launched. That's a lot of satellites. And just from that, Cosmos satellite program alone.
Yeah. On this day.
On this date. 1995, Apple Records released the Beatles Anthology 1, a double CD triple LP, the first of a 3-part series of rare recordings and outtakes by the Beatles. This set covers the years 1955 to 64, as well as new collaboration Free as a Bird, a John Lennon demo augmented by additional lyrics and performances by the surviving 3. The album topped Billboard chart in US and peaked at number 2 in the UK. Cool.
Where's your Beatles guy?
No longer around.
Yeah.
95, Diana, Princess of Wales, admitted she cheated on Prince Charles in a TV interview. Uh-oh.
Not good.
Oh, yeah. 95, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, approved 3TC, a new therapy for use as an initial AIDS treatment. And yeah, the FDA is, they're going to be getting a boot to the face here pretty soon. Go Kennedy!
Yeah.
95, moving on up to 97 here, Iraq's Revolution Command Council formally endorsed an agreement. I never thought I'd scream "Go Kennedy" legitimately. I thought that was behind us. Like,
Hey, I got to give Trump kudos.
what
you know,
year is it?
He's putting people in positions that he thinks are going to really do something.
Yeah.
So I give him credit.
97, Iraq's Revolution Command Council formally endorsed an agreement arranged by Russia that enabled UN weapons inspection teams to resume operations in Iraq. Good. Unfortunately, there'd be another invasion about, half a decade later. 1997, Mavericks AC Green set NBA record of 907 consecutive games played.
Yeah.
That's impressive. So.
Oh, I never realized he used to play for the Lakers, where a lot of that record was set. And I guess he either got traded or went to the Mavericks or something, and free agent. I don't know. I didn't realize he played for the Mavericks.
1997, Philadelphia Flyers Eric Lindros tried to bite San Jose Sharks defenseman Marty McSorley. Okay, Mike. Yeah. Actually, when was that boxing match? Was it before or after 97? Hold on a second. When did Mike Tyson bite? Ear. Not eat. Mike ear. Come on.
Before 97.
June 28th, 97.
So it wasn't 97.
So
okay.
it was before this, though, because June is already come and gone.
Yeah.
And so this guy was legitimately mimicking Mike Tyson.
Apparently so.
Maybe not going for the ear per se, but yeah. 97 as well, Johannes Haley Selassie discovered the partial skull of a 2.5 million year old human ancestor, confirming and establishing the new species Australopithecus gari in Bori, Middle Awash, Ethiopia. A lot of cool archaeology out in Ethiopia, man. Just be careful of the locals. It's a war-torn nation, right? There's some kind of war going on. So, 98, a court in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan declared accused terrorist Osama bin Laden, quote, a man without a sin, end quote. Yeah, sure. In regard of the 1998 U.S. embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Well, when you're bombing something, that's kind of sinful. I'm pretty sure Jesus would not approve, and I do know that Islam believes, Jesus as well as Muhammad and Moses, all three, are prophets. Islam believes all three are prophets. Christianity only believes in two, and Judaism only believes in one. So, yeah. But pretty sure none of the three would approve bombings of anything, so I don't know how you can call him a man without sin. Anyway, 1998, the first International Space Station, the ISS module component Zarya, was launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Believe it or not, the ISS was started by the Soviet Union. So, well, not the Soviet Union by 98, they had already dissolved, but the Cosmodrome was the creation of the Soviet Union, but still Russia started off,
Okay.
So, 2001, Josh Groban released his debut album, Josh Groban. That's kind of boring. It went on to sell over 5 million units.
Never heard of him.
Oh, he's a great singer.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. You've probably heard of "You Raise Me Up." One of my,
Maybe.
I enjoy that song. I heard him a lot in my aunt's house when she lived out in La Jolla.
Oh, okay.
So she had that fancy house. She had the whole house rigged with stereo. Remember that?
Yeah.
So she woke up and in typical middle-aged white liberal women fashion, turned the whole house into a freaking orchestra. So
Well,
yeah.
she liked music. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
No, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying she was very typical. So, 2001, U.S. President George W. Bush dedicated the U.S. Department of Justice headquarters by the Robert F. Kennedy Justice Building on what would have become his 76th birthday. So, happy birthday, Robert F. Kennedy.
Wasn't even there very long,
No.
so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and actually, that's the father of the current RFK, right?
Yes.
So,
RFK Jr.
Yeah. 2002, Die Another Day, the 20th James Bond film, directed by Lee Tamori, starring Pierce Brosnan and Halle Berry, was released. This would become Brosnan's last turn in this role. So, and that's kind of concerning, with how unlucky that family is. The next article is labeled Die Another Day. So,
Wow.
I'm just saying, that's kind of foreboding. 2012, Toshiba unveiled a robot designed to help in nuclear disasters. I remember back in the day when, these companies were making these robots. It was like, wow, look at this robot. Oh, it's so cool. Now people are building these robots, you know, out of their freaking garages. Like, okay, cool, another robot, yeah, whatever, you know, like just the difference, you know, 10 years makes in appreciating technology.
Oh,
you know. 2014, nearly 5 million illegal migrants in the U.S. have the threat of deportation deferred after President Barack Hussein Obama announced sweeping immigration changes. Gee, thanks, Obama. Friggin' piece of crap. 2015, more than half of all the trees in the Amazon forest were at risk of extinction, according to data published in journal Sciences Advances. Liberal propaganda.
What does that mean?
That's just, you know, oh, we gotta save the rainforest.
But they're in jeopardy of an extinction.
Extinction. More than half of all trees. So half of all the species in the trees there are a threat of extinction. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sounds like an awful.
It's just scare tactics. I mean, you know, yeah, are there bad things happening down there? For sure. But, you know, half of all the species down there under threat of extinction.
Listen, if you lost 5-10% of the species, it'd be horrific.
Yeah.
Let alone half.
No, it's just a scare tactic because telling the truth isn't scary enough. Apparently, they just have to go crazy about it.
They don't define what extinction means, and you know there could be a
extinction
very
is
liberal, wide meaning of it. So you don't. That means nothing really.
Well, to me, extinction means the end of that genome.
Yes.
So
what are they using as the criteria? Is there only 20 million of those trees left, so therefore it's a threat of extinction? I don't know. What does it mean?
Well, you're talking about endangered.
Well, endangered is extinct.
Well, no, endangered is a threat. So
endangered is a threat of extinction. That's what endangered is.
No, endangered is the potential of slipping into that, but there is a farther category because with endangered there is a way to come back. Like the manatees, they actually a couple years back they got taken off of the endangered species list.
Because they came back.
Yes.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
But you know, but under threat of extinction does not mean endangered. Like, you know, this means like, you know, there is no going back. They will die. You know, I don't know, but you make a very valid point. You know, the liberals really do love fluid, you know, words. So anyway, moving on up to 2015, XL Columbia Records released 25, the third studio album by Adele, featuring the singles "Hello" and "Send My Love to Your New Lover." Later won the Billboard Album of the Year in 2016, and Grammy Award for Album of the Year in 2017. All right, 2016. Scotsman Andy Murray broke through for a first season-ending ATP World Tour's finals tennis title with a 6-3, 6-4 win in London over five-time defending champion Novak Djokovic. Wow, that's some odds against you right there. 5-time. Yeah. 2016 as well, South Korean President Park Geun-hye's controversial friend Choi Soon-sil was charged with abuse of authority and coercion amid calls to also impeach the president. Yeah, that was the shoe lady, right?
No.
So that was the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. 2016, Jimmy Johnson won his 7th North American Stock Car NASCAR Cup Series championship to tie Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt for the most all time.
Ooh, that's quite a group to be in.
Yes, it is. 2017, Atlanta's Georgia Dome, once the world's largest covered stadium, was destroyed in a controlled implosion. That's unfortunate. So it's, yeah.
If only they build something bigger and better.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. You know, they did obviously build something bigger and better, but even if it was such a major historical thing, what are you going to use it for? It's so big.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
like,
once you replace it, there's no use for that one. So yeah, they gotta bring it down. And we're great at bringing stuff down.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm saying, like, you know, with smaller structures, like, you know, there are buildings, you know, that cannot be touched because they're labeled as historic structures.
Yes.
But what are you going to do if you label a stadium a historic structure? I mean, like, eventually, you know, they're going to get rid of Yankee Stadium, and that's majorly historic. But what are you going to do with it? What are you going to replace? You know, like, what do you, like, not replace, but what are you going to put into that building once it's no longer used to be a you know, for the Yankees? You know?
Right. Yeah,
like,
that's why they would tear it down.
Yeah.
And build condos or whatever.
But there is something really interesting, if I may. Condos. Old baseball stadium condos. Somebody actually changed a baseball stadium into a condominium complex. So it is possible.
Initially,
Park out
people
there.
thought
Yeah. But I mean,
Kinda cool.
yeah, let me go back to the area. So that's an old baseball stadium.
Yeah.
And they just converted it to so it is possible, but they still have all this other land. But
Yeah.
that's one idea to keep the structure while
Yeah.
changing its purpose
Yeah.
without completely destroying a majorly historical thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. 2017 investment corporation Tencent's market value hits $511 billion, becoming the first Asian company to join the $500 billion club. Well, that's because they do all sorts of shady things under the hand and stuff. Awful, evil, commie nonsense. 2018 Airbnb banned listing in Israel's settlements in the West Bank. Yeah, well. 2018 as well, Indian actor Amitabh Bachchan confirmed he had paid off the debts of 1,398 farmers worth $560,000 amid Indian agricultural crisis. That's really cool.
Yeah.
See, I'm not asking for communism, I'm not asking for capitalism, I'm just asking for a in-between, Like, I'm all for people making millions and billions of dollars, but why is nobody being, actually generous with this? Like, they always, we'll donate to this hospital, we'll donate. No, donate to people like, to the farmers, to people who are out there. Like, I
Well,
mean, like, everything else
billionaires
is a
are
business.
generally pretty generous with their money and donations.
Yeah, to other billionaires.
Not to other billionaires.
Of course,
but
that's
to
a-
whatever causes
That's how they
believe,
launder
which
their
they-
money and pay and not pay taxes. They tax right off.
Okay.
No, nobody bails out the farmers. Is what I'm saying. 2018, the Mississippi 15-week abortion ban was overturned by a U.S. judge saying it violated women's constitutional rights. Well, what about the fetus? That like, it hasn't been proven. Like, there's a video out there that the instant a sperm cell goes into the egg, a flash of light happens, and some are arguing that's the moment of life. Like, it is recorded now. Like, it's no longer a concept. That is tangible evidence something is happening upon conception. So, 2018, more than 40 religious scholars were killed at an event to mark the birth of Prophet Muhammad by a suicide bomber near the airport in Kabul,
geez.
Afghanistan.
Ay,
So,
ay, ay.
to mark the event of your savior, you're going to kill people. Gee. Maybe it's time to rethink, who you're really worshiping.
Well, you don't
there.
know who the bomber is, though. He
Yeah.
could be
Well,
anti-Muslim.
yeah, true. It's usually the other way around, though, but not saying 100%. 2018, a sell-off in technology stocks led stock market losses, wiping out all 2018 market gains. Whoops. That's an oopsie there.
Yeah, that
So,
hurts.
yeah. 2018 as well, South African golfer Gary Player received PGA recognition for his 3 senior British Open wins, 1988, 1990, and 1997. From before event recognized as a major title back in 2003, this took him to 9 senior majors.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
Getting recognition
That's
due to
nice.
changes of stuff.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
are the senior tournaments.
Yes. 2019, Britain's Prince Andrew announced he was stepping back from public duties after outcry from disastrous interview on his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Whoopsie doodles. 2019 as well, Oxford Dictionary's word of the year was climate emergency. Of course it was. Freaking Oxford, woke as hell. I don't even, view them as an authority anymore. 2019, snakes apparently live with hind legs for 70 million years. Najash Rigonagirina. According to research from La Bruyteria Paleontological Area, Argentina, published in Science Advances. Well, gee, that's just what we need, a snake with legs. Run! Well, it slithers and runs. That's like a sailboat with a steam engine. That's not fair. 2019, U.S. Ambassador Gordon Sondland testified in an impeachment inquiry that, quote, we followed the president's orders, end quote, and that, quote, everyone was in the loop, end quote, over Ukraine dealings. Well, even so, you could still leave. Nobody held a gun to your head and forced you to do anything. Like, that's the whole great excuse. Like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Yo, yeah, well, the Nazi soldiers were just following orders. Yeah, they were. And they could very easily just not follow orders. If you truly are against something that, and you're being ordered to do it, don't do it. Lose your job. Stand up for what's right. Simple as that. Change, it's hard, but you got it. It starts with you, individual. So, 2020, Adam Ondra completed the first ascent of Zimmernik in Czech Republic, claiming it as his hardest 9B+, and the second hardest route of his life. All right, so, climber, climbing a mountain, doing something like that. So,
It's hard to tell what that is.
Yeah.
Other than what it says in the very beginning.
well, ascent, so I have,
Yeah, exactly.
2022, Disney announced Bob Iger's return as chief executive less than a year after he retired from the company. Yeah, well, once I thought I was out, they brought me back in. The Disney Mafia. 2022 as well. Dutch driver Max Verstappen retained former Formula One Drivers' Championship for Red Bull with a win in the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. This became Verstappen's third straight Abu Dhabi win, record 15th of the season, record 454 points of his first season.
Wow.
Damn, that's a good driver.
Yeah,
So,
he was dominating in 22 for sure.
damn, he looks so young, too. When
Yeah.
was he born? 1997. Wow. He's a kid.
Yeah.
Wow. We also have Elton John completed the North American leg of his Farewell Yellow Brick Road, the final tour at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, okay.
All right. New York State activated the National Guard to assist with historic snow event around Buffalo, with Orchard Park receiving almost 6 1/5 feet. All right.
Yeah. That's when they had all that snow that winter.
Yep. 2022 UN COP27 summit agreed to establish fund to help poor and vulnerable countries with climate change, with committee to be made up of representatives from 24 countries. They do not need your help. Leave them alone. You're just going to make everything worse. Get out of there. Piss off with your climate change bullshittery. 2022 U.S. President Joe Brandon Biden turned 80 years old, becoming the first octogenarian to serve in the country's highest office, celebrating with an inferno of a cake. Remember that cake? Oh,
I do remember something about it.
yeah. Actually, let me see if I can find that cake. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Oh, hey, I found it. Like,
Moving.
where is it here?
That looks like a cake I just saw of someone's birthday.
Oh. That was weird. I panned over directly to the perfect time.
Yeah.
Like, but hey, and just like his campaign, it's all going down the.
That was like, man, were we laughing?
1 year on, and this made the show again. What else do we got here? 2022, world's longest-serving president, authoritarian leader Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasgo, at the age of 80, won re-election in Equatorial Guinea, extending his 43-year rule. Wow. Can anyone say, dictator? So, 2022, last but not least, the 2022 FIFA World Cup began in Qatar, becoming the first time the tournament was held in the Middle East. All right. And that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar in the description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history happens on a daily basis, and we only bring you a portion of it. Please check our sources for more. Or you can, read, because everything between, those sources are in here, just not marked like this one here. I didn't read this, but yeah. So you can pause the video and read that if you want, whatever you want to do. But check the underbar for your dose of past events daily. We stream every day, or at least try to, at 11 in the morning Pacific time, 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. We might not do a show tomorrow. We'll see. We do have other shows, from history to news, movie reactions and reviews, gaming, videos and memes, Omni Kitchen, and everything else in between on Talk Show. Check the underbar. For all of you and all of us, I am Alexander.
Golden Loon.
And in the live studio audience, we have Sir King. And for a little bit, we had the Rat King as well.
Yeah.
And of course, you viewer are you. Thank you so much for watching us. Whether it was live or at some other point in the space-time continuum is irrelevant. A view's a view, and we appreciate it all. And until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection for 85 thumbs and subscribe. Toodles! Alright. Ta-da.